going to talk about sharing information, but we want to, hey, do you remember who your first boss was?
I do. My first boss was he was a gentleman from Glasgow who made his income in less honest ways. He used to sell fruit and veg out of the back of a truck. There, I said it.
Oh, right. Hey, my first boss was a mobster from Brooklyn that owned a pizza place in Atlanta that sold hot televisions out of the back door. Hey, but my first boss in the home services industry, home improvement industry 20 years ago, you know, I didn't get into the industry till I was 32 years old. But at 32 years old, like I joined a company and I did 3 days of training. And my 3 days of training was driving around with a guy, watching him eat Cheetos and smoke Marlboro Lights all day.
Classic.
And the third day, they brought me into the office, and my manager sat me down, and he said, "Hey, Jerry, we see something in you. We think you're going to do pretty good. I'm gonna teach you everything I know, almost."
Oh, man.
And listen, 20 years later, I feel the same way that I felt back then. Like, if I ever learned anything, if I gained some knowledge, if I had some skills, I was going to share it with everybody.
And look at us now.
And I'm sharing it. And Toolshed's allowing me to do this, and I'm super thankful. But, like, we should also, like, share with our customers.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we talk about that, one of the aspects about sharing that I think a lot of people don't figure out until they've been in the business a while, share with your team. Right now, like if you were on a call, you're in a basement and you needed support from a team member, I bet there's a name in your head, right? Hey, call Ken. Like for me, it was Scott Rule. It was 2 in the morning and I was on call sitting in front of an oil burner and I had no idea what was going on, I could call Scott and I knew not only would he answer the phone, but more than likely, 40 minutes later, because it was a little slow, he'd show up. And our industry is made up of those people. So share with your team and don't be the one that no one calls. If your phone hasn't gone off in a while, you might be that guy.
Yeah, share with your team. Like, hey, if you're in the beginning or in the middle of your career and you want to be that person, like at some point in your career, they're going to say, hey, call Eddie. He always knows the answer. Or they're going to say, don't call Eddie because he won't tell you anything.
Right.
And you have to decide in your career, what type of person do you want to be?
I love it. Love it. So let's talk about sharing with a customer. You've been doing this a long time and you've got like some awesome things that you like to do. How would you go about sharing with a customer?
Sure. You know, what happens a lot of times is we go to somebody's home, and especially if they're a maintenance customer, our technicians here, well, every time you come out here, you find something wrong. Every time you come out here, you're charging me. Every time you come out here, there's bad news.
That's so true.
So we can work on that, and instead of just giving them all the bad news, maybe we should give them some good news too.
Love it.
And so we came up with a little thing. We call it.
Look at Jerry's artwork.
Look at my artwork. This is a perfect circle.
High quality production, folks, right here in the tool shed.
Lucy, perfect circle. You know, we work on these. Listen, it might sound something like this. Tell me some good news. Tell me something else good. Tell me something else good. And then tell me what's going on with my system. So it might sound like this.
Yeah, let's practice.
Play. Hey, Mr. Customer, Eddie, I'm finished taking a look at your system. And I noticed a few things that looked okay and a few things we need to talk about.
Okay.
Here's a picture of how your system looked before and after I cleaned it.
Oh, wow. Wow, okay.
You know, and there's a couple of things that I checked. There's a couple of loose wires, and I went ahead and tightened those up, and I didn't charge you for that.
Oh, okay.
Now, there are a few things that we need to talk about, and I'm going to go out to my van, and I'm going to put together a few solutions for you. Does that sound okay?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, and thanks for, honestly, I don't know what you guys do all the time. So that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, so you really wouldn't have like the circle of trust with you, but
right.
But what you want to do is tell me some good news before you tell me all the bad news.
And that just makes perfect sense because, like, again, after all, if we put ourselves in our customers' shoes, which we should probably do, right? That would make a lot of sense. I don't just come in here and pound me with bad news. Don't be in the basement for 10 minutes, come up and hit me with an $800 bill, right?
Yeah. In fact, you said that you'd seen that many times with technicians where they just we find out what's wrong with it and then we just go tell them all the bad news and that customer, like, they really want to hear a couple of good things.
Yeah, it's this industry is only as good as the people in it and the work they do. And so one of the things I've seen, again, Jerry and I aren't gurus, we didn't make this up, but we've worked with literally some of the best that have shared this, is, you know, time equals love. And if you do 30 seconds at the beginning and grunt, because it's one of those days, disappear down the basement for an hour, come back up, well, here you go, and, you know, slide an invoice on a kitchen table and roll out, that's only going to go so well. So spend the time. I love it. Give them some good news, because, you know, the other thing is we get so in a routine, especially during maintenance season, right? Middle of maintenance season, we've been rolling through them, is build the value in your craft. Everything we do has a purpose. Be proud of your purpose and share that. The last thing I'll say is, because I think some other people can feel a pressure to get the customer to do a certain thing. Like, that's not really the point of what you're suggesting when we share options. Like, when you come back in from the van, you're not like, there's no secret Jedi mind trick you're going to share in tomorrow's episode or anything like that, right?
No, and we're not trying to get the customer to do anything.
Right on.
We're just trying to discover the facts and then share the solution.
Love it.
And
love
then,
it.
like, our job really is to find out what's going on with their system, present that information with it, share the information, and then their job as a consumer is to decide how they want to use that information. Do they want to fix it? Do they want to repair it? Do they want to replace it? Do they want to do nothing?
Right. And that's always a choice. And it's information. What we're talking about is information asymmetry. We have a ton of information in our head. And sometimes we can be worried about, like, being seen a certain way. So we just sort of feed out the information a little bit. And then we should be clear about what the customer has to do next. And if we don't give them options, you know, not giving someone a choice is not giving someone a choice. And so, like, you're saying either take it or leave it. And quite often, absent information, they'll just leave it.
Absolutely. You know, I personally feel like the worst technician is the guy who doesn't tell you all the information.
Yeah.
He knows there's something wrong, but he doesn't want to share that with you because it seems like maybe I feel salesy, or you're going to get mad if I tell you that your ductwork is all torn up.
I've done that. I've gone in and I've tried to guess, like, I don't know, can they afford it, whatever. And so you sort of measure it, and yeah, it took me a while to break that habit, and I just want to be a good doctor. I just want to share, you said it best, share solutions. I will tell you that the funny thing, it's like that golfer that was, you know, he was at the putting, I don't know, Scottish, and this is my golf swing. You see why I'm in America, right? He's at the putting green, and he's putting, and someone walks by and says, "Man, lucky shot." And he just turns around and says, "Yeah, it's weird. The more I practice, the luckier I get." And it's the same with sharing solutions. The people with a high average ticket, or the ones that always seem to make it look easy, they just get out of their way and just share the solutions. And it's the law of large numbers. The more you share, the more people are going to say yes to stuff.
And it's not emotional.
No.
It's just the facts, and I'm going to share the facts with you, and what you decide to do is totally up to you. And that's the attitude that we need to have.
I love it. So that's why truth's important. It's why, you know, having a system's important. So let's talk about the final impact. It's a good idea, but let's where do we go with this? And what's the thing to focus on for the team today?
Really, like, this is the one thing you can take into your job today. After you finish diagnosing the system, take a minute and have that conversation in your head that you're going to have with that customer. I checked this, it looks okay. I found a piece of duct and I repaired it. And have that conversation in your head before you have it with the customer.
I love it. Have a game plan. You're so right. I've been with people, and they're like, tools down, upstairs, and mouth opens, and eventually brain connects, right? So
take a moment before you start talking.
Take a beat.